The pericardium meridian of hand Jueyin. The pericardium meridian starts from the chest and goes to the armpit and goes down inside the forearm and then goes to the wrist and to the palm of the hand, and it ends medial to the third fingertip. The starting acupoint is PC1. It starts from here. It is at the chest. Then it goes to the elbow, where there is PC3. Then it goes to the carpus on the wrist, where there is PC7. And then it goes to the palm of the hand, where there is PC8. And then it finishes at the middle end of the third finger, PC9. Let's look into each acupoint. First, PC1. PC1 is at the 5th intercostal space. It is in between the 5th rib and the 6th rib, 4th and lateral from the midline. Here is PC1. PC1 is not a commonly used acupoint. We don't usually use it for animals. Next is PC3. PC3 is at the elbow joint. Biceps brachii is the muscle that is on the upper arm. PC3 is located medial to the tendon of the biceps brachii. Let's look at the bone specimen. First acupoint is PC1 in the 5th intercostal space, but we don't usually use this acupoint. Since it's not a commonly used acupoint, we'll just learn it, but don't need to memorize it. And then the acupoint on the elbow joint is PC3. The biceps brachii is here, and PC3 is medial to the tendon of the biceps brachii. Here is PC3. Let's find the acupoints using a real dog. PC1 is in the 5th intercostal space, 4th and lateral to the midline, which is the same as the nipple line. We don't use this acupoint that much. Next is PC3. PC3 is at the elbow, on the flexion crease, on this line. The tendon of the biceps brachii is here. It's a little bit hard. PC3 is medial to the tendon of the biceps brachii. It is on the inside of the biceps brachii, on the flexion crease. Next, we now know the landmark PC3. The next landmark acupoint is PC7 on the wrist. PC7 is on the wrist joint. At the wrist, there is a flexion crease. There is a tendon, the tendon of Flexor Carpi Ulnaris. It is medial to this tendon. Draw a line connecting PC3 and PC7. On the line, we'll locate PC4 and PC6. Let's find PC7. When you bend the wrist, it forms a crease on the wrist. This is the flexion crease of the carpus. PC7 is on the crease on this side, and this bone is called the ulna. On the ulna, there's a muscle that is attached called the Flexor Carpi Ulnaris muscle, and its tendon is on the wrist. Medial to this tendon, we locate PC7. The landmark is the wrist flexion crease, this line here. There is a little paw pad called carpal pad. And this is the Flexor Carpi Ulnaris muscle. PC7 is medial to the tendon of the Flexor Carpi Ulnaris muscle. It is at this depression. The depression medial to the flexor muscle. It is medial to the carpal pad right here. We have the landmarks PC3 and PC7. We'll connect these two landmarks together and draw a line. On this line, PC4 is 2/5 from PC7. On this PC3, PC7 line, 2/5 from PC7, we have PC4. Another acupoint on this PC3, PC7 line, 1/6 from PC7, there is PC6. PC3 is medial to the tendon of the biceps brachii. And PC7 is medial to the tendon of the Flexor Carpi Ulnaris muscle. We connect these landmarks together. And 2/5 from PC7, we have PC4. And another acupoint that is 1/6 from PC7 is PC6. When inserting the needle in PC6, you will insert the needle in between the radius and ulna. The landmarks are PC7 and PC3. Draw a line connecting these two landmarks. Then on this line, 1/6 from PC7, you have PC6. Here is PC6. And PC4 is on the line connecting PC7 and PC3, and it is 2/5 from PC7. Next, let's look into the acupoints from the wrist and below. First, there is PC8. PC8 is caudal to the big pad on the palm. PC7 was on the little paw pad. There's a bigger paw pad below that, and we are going to locate PC8 caudal to this big paw pad. This is PC8. And on the middle end of the third finger, there is PC9. Below PC7, there is a big pad around here. It is caudal to that big pad. We have PC8 here. For PC9, we'll count the fingers. The third finger is the second one here. This is the third finger. On the third fingertip middle side of the nail and at the base of the nail, there's PC9. PC9 is on the medial and at the base of the nail on the third finger. Let's look at PC8 on a dog. PC8 is caudal to this big paw pad right here. This is PC8. When counting fingers for dogs, this finger is the second finger. And this is the third finger. PC9 is on the inside at the base of the nail on this third finger. The important acupoints around the elbow joint and the wrist joint. These acupoints around the elbow and the wrist are the landmark acupoints, so we would like to memorize them all. Okay, let's start with elbow joint. On the elbow joint, there are LI11, LU5, PC3, HG3, and SI8. And one more, TE10. On the elbow joint, we can see the 3 yin acupoints and the 3 yang acupoints aligned. And it is very important to understand how it is aligned. Elbow flexion crease is right here. On an elbow, there's a line called the flexion crease. On this flexion crease, on the outside, there's LI11. And then, lateral to the tendon of the biceps brachii, there's LU5. And then, if you go over the tendon, you'll get PC3. And on the elbow, there's a bump called the medial epicondyle of the humerus. In front of this bump, we have HG3. This acupoint is HG3. It is on the heart meridian. And jumping over the medial epicondyle, this acupoint in between the olecranon and the medial epicondyle is SI8 on the small intestine meridian. And above the olecranon, there's a depression. And this is at acupoint called TE10. Therefore, around the elbow, we have 6 points: LI11, LU5, PC3, HD3, SI8, and TE10. Using a real dog on this elbow flexion crease, on this flexion crease on the outside, there's LI11. And then lateral to the tendon of the biceps brachii, on the flexion crease, there's LU5. And then if you go over the tendon, you'll get PC3. And then in between the medial epicondyle of the humerus and the endpoint of the elbow flexion crease, you have HD3. And jumping over the medial epicondyle, and in between the olecranon and the medial epicondyle, there is SI8. This is the one on the small intestine meridian. And above the olecranon, there's a depression. And this is the acupoint TE10. This is the flexion crease of the carpus, the line formed when bending your wrist. This is a chart of the left hand looking from the back. The important acupoints around the wrist are LU9 at the middle side of the flexion crease and PC7 at the middle side of the little pad called the carpal pad. And jumping over that, and at the external side, there is HT7. And at the dorsal side of the wrist, there's LI5. In the middle, there is TE4. And on the end, there is SI5. Okay, let's look at the Boyne specimen. This part is the wrist, the carpus. It is the carpal joint. When you bend the foreleg, there's a line formed here called the flexion crease of the carpus. And looking from the back, at the medial end of the flexion crease, there's LU9. And there's a small pad called the carpal pad, and medial to the carpal pad, there's PC7. A muscle called the Flexor Carpi Ulnaris muscle is attached to the carpal pad. You go over the muscle and lateral to the carpal pad, there's HT7. HT7 is in between the flexor and extensor carpi ulnaris muscle. Next is the wrist looking from the dorsal side. On the flexion crease on the dorsal side, there's a bump called the styloid process of ulna. On the depression below to it, we have SI5. And in the middle of the wrist, there is TE4. And on the medial end on this dorsal crease, there's LI5. Therefore, it is lined up as SI5, TE4, and LI5. This is the carpal joint of a dog. Here is the styloid process of ulna. On the depression below the styloid process, we have SI5. And on the dorsal side, in the middle, there is TE4. And on the dorsal side, on the medial end, there's LI5. It is lined up in order, SI5, TE4, and LI5. On the back side of the wrist, there's the carpal pad on the flexion crease. Medial to the carpal pad, there's PC7. And at the medial end of the flexion crease, there is LU9. And in the depression lateral to the carpal pad, there is HT7.